Yeah, I was in my own band for years and years and years, struggling to gain recognition and gain fans. I put out 3 albums with that band, and, through those years I actually became friends with Angela, and she was kind of a mentor to me. So when I would have, it's really hard to be a girl, actually, in metal. You're usually the only one there. And for me, I'm also vegan and I'm also straight edge, so I'm usually like really the outcast. It's like a bunch of drunk dudes barbecuing, and, and then I'm like this little girl on the side with no friends, right? So it can be hard, and so Angela sort of was a mentor to me in the sense that if I would, be having a hard time, I could write to her and she would give me advice. She'd been through it all. And then eventually she wrote to me and said that, she would like to speak with me, Michael would like to speak with me, and they let me know that she decided to retire from singing. And she still wants to be a part of the band, because obviously she has a lot to do with the band's success, so she decided that she wanted to just manage the band from now on. She was already doing a great job before managing, and so she's working behind the scenes with Arch Enemy. But she wanted to pass the torch to me to front Arch Enemy on the scene. So obviously when they invited me to do that, I was very honored to to have that opportunity, and really excited to work on this kind of music, because I really think the music's great, and I'm in a situation where I'm working with people that I consider friends and that have already been there for me for a long time throughout the previous years of my career. So we got together and started writing music and jamming the old songs and working on new lyrics, and it just went from there. It started to flow really well. Well, I started Arch Enemy was actually the first metal band I ever listened to. When I was, I think, 16 or 17, me and a bunch of friends decided we wanted to start a band. And I was really into punk. I listened to a lot of punk and like not that much metal. And then we started writing some songs, and I was just clean singing, like singing in a normal girl voice. And then one of my guitarists in that first band was like, "Well, why don't you try to scream?" And so I was thinking like Courtney Love kind of screaming, like grungy screaming. They were like, "No, no, no, like do a death metal scream." And I was like, "I don't know what you mean." And then they were like, "Go listen to Arch Enemy." So I went to the store and I picked up Wages of Sin, and I remember I bought it, ripped it open, put it in my Discman, which was what was, a little CD player at the time, and I listened to it like right there in the mall, and the first song came on and I was like, "Oh, this is amazing, this is fucking amazing." And so then I was in the mall, there was a bunch of friends and people, I see metalheads walking by, and I was like, "You gotta listen to this album," and then I open the booklet and I see this beautiful angelic blonde girl, and I'm like, "That's her, no way." And so I fell in love with that album, and so I was an instant fan, and I was a huge fan from that point on. I started incorporating growls, like the screaming voice, with my singing voice in all the bands I did from there on afterwards. And Arch Enemy has always been like, one of my favorite bands for sure. It's just, I think it's just so unique, and it's really its own style. You can hear right away if something is Arch Enemy. It's really a signature sound, and so yeah, I'm actually really, when I first heard the songs that Michael and the guys had written for me to put my vocals on, and I was sitting there listening to them trying to write lyrics, I was like, I'm listening to an Arch Enemy song for me to put lyrics on. How did that happen? Like, it was really crazy, actually. So it's really cool, and I feel like a really good connection with the music and with the other guys in the band. Well, I worked with like a lot of different bands at this point. I had like 2 or 3 local bands that never really left Montreal, and then I had some bands that got a little bit bigger, and then I also sang with Camelot, which is a very respected band. With Camelot, I really learned a lot about how touring really should go. Like just a lot of respect for everyone. Everyone appreciates the contribution that the other musicians make, and it's a really good feeling to be appreciated like that. And I instantly felt that too when I started working with the guys and Angela. Just a profound appreciation. We're a team putting together music because fans want it, because we love doing it. Just really just focusing on making great music, and the recording process went really smoothly, actually. Like, really, I'm used to really struggling and putting all sorts of crazy clean voice and screaming and composing and really intense lyrics and being in charge of everything. And in this case, it was great because it was really just such a team effort with, Angela handling the business side, and Michael is really the band leader, and, obviously Daniel and Charlie and Nick are great musicians contributing their parts too. And I was able to, write lyrics that meant a lot to me. Michael and I actually have a really nice contrast in our style of lyrics. His is very different than mine, which I think makes for a very interesting album. And the recording process was great too, because I had, I recorded with Staffan Carlson, and Michael was there the whole time with me, as I was recording, right there in the room with me. So it was really cool. It was a really smooth process, and it was a lot of fun, actually. I'm really happy with the process and with the results, so I hope everyone's going to like the result too. Yeah, I think there's a definitive sound for Arch Enemy, and I definitely want to respect that. This is an established band with a really, really strong style, and so and my style is different than that in the past. But now that I'm a part of Arch Enemy, I'm going to make sure that I make the music as good as it can be. So if it calls for no clean vocals, then I'm not going to put them. When I was with Camelot, it was almost all clean vocals with just a little bit of screaming. So I'm able to adapt to whatever band I'm with, because really the ultimate goal here as a musician and as an entertainer is to make the best possible songs. Fans deserve to have the best possible music. It's not for me to go, look what I can do this and I can do that. I know what I can do. Now the important thing is to make good songs. So in Arch Enemy, there's so much melody in the guitars that I don't think it necessarily calls for a clean type of singing all the time, although it's very tempting to sing along with those guitars because they're so melodic. But on this album in particular, I did put a few little things in here and there that maybe will surprise people, that maybe wouldn't have been in previous Arch Enemy albums. And I guess we'll just see how it goes, see what we feel as a band. If we feel like going in a slightly different direction, either, more melodic or less melodic, heavier, faster, softer, who knows? It really depends on how we feel musically. But for me, I'm happy to be creating great songs no matter the genre. As long as I like it and I think it's good, I'm happy to do it. I would have to, honestly, recording this album, it was like every track we did, I was like, this track's fucking awesome, and then the next one I was like, this one's also awesome. There was never one track that I was like, well, it's good enough, but let's move on. Like, all of them I think are great, which is pretty rare, actually, to create an album where you're really in love with every single track. I think I'm personally really, really fond of the song As the Pages Burn. I'm happy with the lyrics I wrote on that, and I really was feeling the performance when we tracked that. I also really love the song Avalanche, which I think musically is a great song, and I also I'm proud of the lyrics and the vocal arrangements that I put on that song too. The lyrics mean a lot to me, and I think it's like a really cool song and like pretty actually different than traditional Arch Enemy. Those two songs in particular stand out for me. It was really cool to be a co-lyricist, writing with Michael. Like he wrote some and I wrote some. That's the first time I've done that. I'm usually writing everything. And it's hard to choose because there's so many good ones. Time is Black is another really interesting song. Musically, that song is just... I was almost afraid to put vocals on that song because it was so beautiful even without vocals, but in the end I'm happy with what I came up with. And And it was fun to sing the songs that Michael wrote too, like the other 5 songs that I didn't write the lyrics for. It was also really cool because I could completely relate to the lyrics he wrote, which is fantastic because it means if I can relate to it, then probably a lot of other people can too. So yeah, I think that's it. Hi, my name is Alissa White-Gluz. I'm the vocalist for Arch Enemy, and I want to thank you so much for your support of the band. I really hope you enjoy listening to War Eternal as much as we enjoyed making it. So rock on, keep it metal, and we'll see you soon.